Hey there, this is Erica from Ever Educating, and this channel is teaching tips, tools, ideas, and resources for new college instructors. Recently, I presented at a summit that was all about using Google tools in the classroom, and the tool Jamboard was brought up, which I had never heard of. I realized though that it's a great free tool to use for exit cards and other ways as well. And so in today's video, I'm showing you how to use it, what it is, and some ideas for including it in your classroom. To get to Jamboard, all you do is go to the Google Apps items and then scroll on down until you see Jamboard and then click it and it opens up. So you'll have none if you don't have any yet, or it has the ones that you've created already. On the bottom right here, you'll have the plus sign and you'll click to create a new jam. I created one already just to kind of show you the basics of using it and then 4 different ideas for activities. So to begin, you have a blank screen and you have the various tools on the left-hand side. If you want to though, if you don't want to have just a blank screen, you can set a background and change it up depending on if students are writing on it or if they're drawing on it, whatever the case may be. You can add your own image, but I'm keeping it blank here. And then you just start going through here and you'll see different options. So if they want to write with a pen, they can do that. And as you notice, just using here my trackboard to use the pen. There's the eraser to get rid of what you or they have written. There's the arrow to select something that's already on the Jamboard. Sticky notes, which is probably going to be the most popular approach because they can just type out their answer and it can be in like a kind of cute form versus just the text. So there's a sticky note. They can move around. There's an image that they can add. So it can be either one they've chosen or you've chosen or one that's on Google, whatever the case may be. And then there's certain shapes that they can draw as well. So for example, the circle, you draw it, there it is, and you resize it as needed. Delete that, delete this. And then the text box, which again will be very popular because this is just clicking and deciding where you want it and then writing the text. And if you want to, this is normal text, but there's also different options for the sizes or the colors of the text that you'd like. This is centered, but you can align it differently as well. And then this is if you are talking and you want to say, oh, do that first and then that and then this, or hey, do this thing first. So it's kind of like a laser pointer kind of showing directional usage. So that's another option as well. So those are the tools here. You're going to want to go through etiquette with your students. Don't write over someone else's work. Don't erase someone else's work because they will have the ability to influence what's on the Jamboard. So you want to have some etiquette, down before you start using this tool. On the top right here, the more actions, you can download the Jamboard as a PDF if you want to. Let's say after it's all answered and you want to save it to your documentation. You can use it as a PDF. You can save it as an image. Of course, you can delete the Jamboards, make a copy of them, whatever the case may be here. The 2 big ones, if you want to have the answer saved for later on, are saving it as a PDF or as an image. And then to share the Jamboard with your students, on the top right here, like you would any other Google type of document, you click share and change the settings so anybody with a link can edit, copy it, and then share it with your students. So now they'll have access to this document as well. So that's the basis of using the tool. Also on the top here, you'll see there's 5 different slides. If you choose this arrow at the bottom, you can add more slides in between the ones you've created at the beginning, at the end. You can duplicate slides if you want to. So let's say the top here, you see the little menu, you can duplicate it or delete. And then when you want to minimize, you can collapse the frame bar. So that's how you see all of them at once. Okay, so the first idea here is an entry card. So the class begins and you open up the Jamboard and you say, okay, I want you to answer this question. What was the most interesting thing you learned in the homework for today? And so students can go in, maybe they want to do the pen, probably a bit complicated. You might say, use either a sticky note or a text box in order to answer this question. And so they can go ahead and they can say, oh, the most interesting thing I learned is this. And then
Erica is saying that, save, and now it exists, and they can move it around to make sure, again, there's no overlap between students. So that's one option. And then exit cards, so the class ends and you might have, okay, here's a final question for you. It can be like the first one where it's open-ended. What's the most interesting thing you learned today? What do you want to learn, you want to spend more time on because you were confused? So it can be an open-ended question. But you might also have something like this. Put a circle next to the skill you want to work more on next class period. This is a literature course, right, or a writing course. So they had these different options, so they can just go circle, and they can say, okay, this first student wants to learn more about writing topic sentences. This other student wants to learn more about explaining the so what. So maybe they'll do that. Or again, you can use a pen and they can say this one, right? Or this one. And then you see, okay, most of the students want to work on C. So that's an option as well, taking advantage of the shapes or of the pen. And then you can also use it for activities, so not just as entry or exit cards. So for example, here, maybe you're reading a novel and friendship is a very popular or major theme of the novel. So you have, okay, for today's activity, tell me your favorite quote from the book that relates to the concept of friendship or the theme of friendship. And so you get them some time, they add in their favorite quotes, and you could use that as a jump off point. All right, let's analyze these quotes. What's it saying about friendship? Who's saying this or thinking this? How does this particular quote, can it support this argument about the novel, or does it support something else, right? So you can use this as a basis for a lesson, for example, on using textual evidence to write literary analysis. So it can be a starting point of like, okay, did they do the homework? Did they read it? And then, okay, now can they see, the theme of friendship? Okay, and then now let's discuss and see how they can analyze what they've chosen for this particular activity. And another idea, for example, I kind of kept it very vague in order to have it apply to different types of courses. So X facts about Y. Now I don't mean here numbers, but it might be, for example, maybe you're in a history course and you're talking about the hidden history of historical events, right? So what the victors didn't really want people to know, that you have to kind of dig deep into to find out about. So it might be hidden facts about the Civil War, right? Or hidden facts about the founding of the U.S. or whatever the case may be. Then you might do something different, like most interesting facts about photosynthesis in a science class, right? So now it's just more like opinion, like what interests you about this particular concept or process. Or it might be like most important facts about, let's say, a certain type of chemical. And so students have to research what this chemical can do, in the world. So just kind of having an activity where students are doing research, right? So this is a research-based activity. You have to go out, find a credible source, and bring back a fact about whatever it is that you were discussing during that class period. And again, you can save this and have this, sent to your students. Hey, look, here are tons of facts about this thing. So those are just 4 activity ideas. So 2 of them that are more like the starting point, the jump off point for a larger class activity. And then the other 2, again, an entry card, an exit card, just to get a feel for what your students are bringing during that class period and how they're feeling at the end of it. This can be used in a lot of other different ways, but I just want to give you a sense of the possibilities here for using Jamboard. And just kind of a final fact, up here, I didn't really mention this. So this is if you're using Google Meets, then you can present to a Google Meets meeting. So you click on there and, present using a meeting code, enter the meeting code or link to actually get into the Google Meets. But that's only if you're doing Google Meets. So if you're doing Zoom, again, you're going to want to share it as a link so your students can open it up and write on it.
If you found this video helpful, click like and let me know, and subscribe if you don't want to miss out on future content. I'll see you next time.